What is up, guys? Today is day number 50 in the speedrun. Now I want to address the elephant in the room, which is, why is my rating 1970? Well, simply put, yesterday I was in the middle of a fast. I tried to record another episode of the speedrun and I was literally falling asleep, and more or less I botched my queen and I ended up canceling the recording of the original day number 50. I looked back over the footage and yeah, I was just very tired from doing the fast and doing everything. So alas, we're here at a new day number 50. It's time to go.
It's time to go!
So we got e4, e5, knight c3, we'll play knight f6, f4, d5. This is the classic Vienna. This is the Vienna game. Yeah, not many problems here. I definitely got really humbled yesterday. I was seriously humbled yesterday. I lost 2 games. The first game I lost, I highly suspect it was to a cheater. I really don't know. You know, I was in the middle of a fast, so my energy levels were low. But even so, the guy was still playing so well. The second game, I just completely botched. The second game, y'all weren't able to see. The second game, it was legitimately time to go. I really like these positions. I like leaving my knight on the square literally as long as possible. We're going to play knight c6 here. Yeah, this is a very interesting position. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was analyzing the reverse of this position recently. Maybe not this exact one, but something very similar to it. So d4 will now, because I did not move the bishop out so soon, we can just play bishop b4 in one go. This looks quite strong. We're going to castle, and the idea is we're going to quickly crunch on their structure with f6. That should not be good. We're going to take here. I don't know what he's on about. Whenever the knight moves, he's going to have to pay the piper. Let's just take this way. Yeah, I think black is just winning here, actually. If he plays knight g1, I can snatch a pawn. And if he takes, I'll get the fork. All right. Am I missing something? I'm just going to take the pawn. If he plays c3, queen e3 should end everything. Queen e3, yeah, there are a lot of ways that this game could end. Bishop e2, knight d3, king f1, queen f2 is mate. Meanwhile, c3, queen e2, we could just throw a knight c2 and then pick up the mango on a1. That would also work. Bunch of mangoes here to be picked up. This is a really uncomfortable position for white. That cannot be good. That could definitely not be good. I guess he's playing for c3. So we got to be a little careful. We could play queen takes e5, but then he castles. I don't want to allow him to castle. I feel like we're already at the situation really here, more or less, where the position should win itself. Rook d8 suggests itself. Rook d8 is an obvious looking move, but at the same time, what do I actually have there? Can he just play knight b3 and trade off everything? I wouldn't be able to move my queen in such a position because the rook is hanging. I mean, e3 also doesn't really work. I could take on b2, then he castles though. Okay, takes on b2, castles, then I play knight takes c2. I think I'm winning there. Yeah, I'm gonna go for that. I think that works. Takes, he castles, we take on c2, and the idea is if rook b1, I can throw in a check and play knight e3. Yeah, my energy levels are drastically improved from yesterday. Yesterday, I think it was a combination of me going on a fast and also me cutting down my caffeine. I was just not feeling well. I was not feeling well, I was not feeling good. It was legitimately time for me to go. So he plays rook b1, but we just throw a check in and we're going to play knight e3. I think the game should just be over here. Knight e3. It's legitimately time to go. I say it's time to go all the time. It is really time to go. I would expect a resignation here, because it's time to go.
Time to go now!
Yeah, really interesting time here in Brazil. Pretty much, it was cold up until a week ago, and now it's blazing hot. I went from having my heater on to now having the AC on. Wild country, this Brazil. Very interesting place. Yeah, regarding my my meditations from last week about where I want to go in my life, I'm still not completely convinced, but I'm really heavily leaning toward Brazil, at least for the short term. My new plan, yeah, I'm thinking about it now. I've been doing so much thinking about this. I have the personality type where I can just think about my life and I can just meditate on life decisions for literally hours on end every single day, and whether or not I'm living in the proper way and living correctly in accordance with with what I believe is my destiny, and so forth. But yeah, so pretty much I came to the decision I'm going to stick around Brazil at least for another year while I finish several courses. I do have to fly to Miami just to finish the visa process, but once that's dealt with, I'll be coming back to Brazil. I'll be able to continue like forging relationships, forging friendships. But at the same time, I'm not really sold on this country forever. I like this country a lot, but I'm feeling very drawn to East Asia, both either whether it's Taiwan, Singapore, even maybe Vietnam. No, Vietnam, I could never learn the language. It wouldn't be Vietnam, but Eastern Europe also seems very interesting. I had fantastic experiences when I was in Ukraine and Serbia. I'm really hoping that the war gets resolved between Ukraine and Russia so I can go to both countries. It's a very sad situation they have going on there. All right, I mean, this is just completely winning. Pieces are really bad at the moment. Got fantastically placed pieces. Just gonna throw the pawn up the board, really. Not much to talk about. Normally I don't like trading. I wouldn't like to trade off such a good bishop here, but if it means getting my rook into d2, it might be worth it. Is it worth it? Let me work it. No, I'm just joking. Let's play queen b2. Queen b2 is the best way, actually, because we're pinning, and it's very hard for his queen to defend. I was really thinking about taking this way, but after pawn takes, rook d2, bishop c4, he has some tricks. He has some tricks, and it's not that easy for me to push the pawn forward. So I think that this queen b2 move is just a lot more simple. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble here. Well, that drops the queen. It's time to go. Let's get moving. Let's get going. No game review. We got to get moving. I want to get to 2,000 by the end of today. Yeah, I was really flustered yesterday by that game that I lost, and like the second game I lost was just due purely to exhaustion. The first game I'm very suspicious about. Let's play Queen's Indian. I haven't been playing Queen's Indian much. I've been going with the Bogo Indian a lot. We could go for a Bogo Queen's Indian now, but bishop e7 is normal. This is extremely similar to the bird opening, believe it or not. Knight c3, knight e4, this is classic theory. And here they can play bishop d2 and you can play f5, and we've more or less transposed into a much weaker form of our favorite bird. f5, okay, is f5 possible? f5, the problem with f5 is they might play knight d2, right? And then the idea is they're trying to get this bishop out and win the mango on a8. So you got to be careful here. I think f5 is okay though for the moment. They don't have anything immediate. If they play knight e5, we can play knight d6, and nothing has been accomplished. From what I remember, the theory here is bishop d2. Queen c2 is sort of a waste of a move. And yeah, we effectively have a bird position reversed. Just normally, yeah, you get this literal position in my bird course, except up a really critical tempo that allows black to have, I don't know, like the better side of equality, practically speaking. h4 is a weird move. I guess he wants to play knight g5. Can we play knight c6? Yeah, I like knight c6. If knight takes e4, I'm going to throw a knight b4 and then take with the bishop on e4. By playing the knight to c6 now, there are no issues with this pin. Y'all see that? Because if he moves the knight, I can just take. My bishop isn't being pinned anymore. Here, bishop f6, knight takes e4, takes, queen takes. Am I getting tricked there? I might be getting tricked there. We could try knight a5. Knight a5 is a really weird position. Let's put the knight on a5. I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm going for the pawn, though. That's what I'm about. And I'm defending the bishop, so there are no longer any pin tricks. I really don't know what's happening in this position. On the one hand, my knight looks a little weird here, but on the other hand, his queen is really incapacitated at the moment. I'm just going to continue improving the position. Yeah, this is a really wacky position. It's time to go. I'm waiting him out. I'm like Rambo. Just waiting in the forest. What is his plan here? He's going to have to decide to do something at some point. I'm going to put the rook... I don't even know what to do in this position. It's just such a strange position. I mean, the idea is d6, he plays d5. This knight is going to be a little misplaced. I need to be a bit careful about this knight not ending up really poor. Like, an example of what type of position I should be avoiding is d6, d5, takes, and e5. Then my knight is just completely stuck there, and b4 is probably going to win it. I gotta be very, I gotta be cognizant of what I should be going for here. Maybe I could try c6. Could I play c6 and d5? No, that drops this. This is a very tricky position, honestly. I don't know. I don't actually know what to do. You know what? I'm just going to chop here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to chop and then put the bishop on e4. Generally, when you get the bishop to e4, the significance of this is that then even if they build a brick wall with b3 through d5, my bishop will be on the right side of the action. There can't really be anything concerning there. All right, we're going to put the knight. Where should the knight be going now? That's another really big question. I don't know where the knight should be going. I guess, yeah, this could easily go either way. Is b7 or c6 better? On the one hand, c6 is slightly more active, but then it's much more vulnerable to d5. I would venture knight b7 is best. The idea of knight b7 is, first of all, if d5, I can always play for e5 and then knight c5 when the knight is perfectly grooved in. The other idea is I might be able to go to d6 in some positions. Here, let's just trade. So this is really interesting. When they have this elongated phalanx like this, especially with h4, normally the counter push to h4 is f4. So we should be looking to play f4. I'm waiting for the proper moment. f4, he plays knight e4 for the moment. Let's play knight d6 first. I'm aiming to play f4 and knight f5. Yeah, this has just turned into a bird. This is just a normal bird. He could play knight e4, but no, knight e4 we take and play knight f5, throw the knight into e3. e4, interesting. e4 is very interesting. I mean, his knight does definitely not like this type of relationship here. But at the same time, how do we punish it? We could take and play knight f5. That looks extremely strong, honestly, because we're threatening this. I'm also threatening just to sacrifice and bring the queen in. I'm going to go for that. Another thing I could have tried, though, here was just e5. The idea is that e5 takes. He's left with some weaknesses. This whole knight d2 pawn on e4 relationship is not going to work out for him. Yeah, I think he's in a lot of trouble now. Bishop takes h4 is going to be a bolt from the blue. There are about to be a lot of problems with his position here. I guess he could try queen e4 to hold everything together. Cool, queen d3 I just have to take. Queen e4 would have been better because after queen e4 takes and queen takes here, it's less clear, it's less obvious. Okay, so here we have a very interesting decision. I could definitely take on h4 and I would have a very nice attack. But then he plays e4, I check, he goes king h2. I guess I play rook f6, rook h6, that should be winning. The only question I'm wondering about is rook f6 more active? Is rook f6 more accurate? I don't know. I really don't know. This is a complete toss-up. Is queen takes h4 better or rook f6? Both of them look extremely strong. Both look outrageously strong. I guess I'm going to go for queen. Either could work. Either could. I don't know what the move is. Knight takes h4 would also be interesting, but I feel knight takes h4, king h1. He's able to, that was my shoe. My shoe just skidded across the floor. If knight takes h4, he plays king h1, I'm not sure that I'm immediately winning there. All three of these positions look very promising, though. I guess the problem with rook f6 is he could play knight f3, rook g6, and king f2, and he's holding on there. I might still be winning, but at least it looks like he's holding on there. So yeah, let's play queen takes h4. If knight f3 in this position, we just have queen g3. Unbelievably uncomfortable position. I mean, the biggest problem here, I would assume that black is completely winning here. The whole thing is that there are three open files pointed at his king. There is no way for him to shore up all of the files. He might be able to shore up one of the files, maybe two of the files. Three of the files is going to be way too much. So we check here, king has to make a choice. If it goes to h2, I'm just going to play rook f6, rook h6. A very uncomfortable position. Takes, check, and there's going to be mate. I think he has to try queen h3, but at least there I can win the queen. At least. I think I'm going to play for more, honestly. Queen h3, I can play queen f4 check, king h1, knight g3 check, king, yeah, let's play queen f4 here. Let's keep the ball rolling. If king goes to g1 or g2, we have rook g6. If king h1, then we could play rook h6, and the difference there is after takes, I don't have to take with the knight. I can keep the attack going. Here, there must be a mate here. Let's just start with the check. There has to be a checkmate in this position. There's no way you could be playing rook, knight, queen against queen and a completely exposed king and not have some type of checkmate here. King h2, we play knight e4, king h1, and knight f2. That's mate. It's time to go. Perfect. 1984. Shout out to George Orwell. Shout out to my boy Winston Smith. What are the characters in that book? Winston Smith, and what is the female protagonist's name? Is it just Julia? Does she have a last name? Let me know in the comments. That's a fantastic book. That book had a huge impact on me. I think I read it like 5 years ago. Very, very interesting book. I read it around 2020. Really thought-provoking book. I think a lot of people miss the entire point of that book. Definitely, if I ever like have a chance to be more of a book critic or a film critic, I'm going to go into more detail about what I'm talking about. But pretty much, like everyone thinks 1984 is just the... They just think it's a novel about a dictatorship, but based on the final chapter of that book, it seems to delve much deeper into just the human condition than anything else. All right, so takes. In 95, this is the theory here. This is my theory. Yeah, pretty much no one in any bird course prior to my bird course has talked about this, but this is a very interesting position here. D4 is a very natural move, but after bishop b5 check, c6, bishop c4, white is in the driver's seat. I won a fantastic game like this recently. I was hoping to make a video on it, and yeah, depending on what happens, I might be able to make the video. Just look at this from black's position. Look at this position for black. Okay, well, he's already losing now. We just played bishop b5 here. His queen is going to be trapped. It seems hard to believe, but trust me, his queen is going to be trapped here. This is shocking stuff. This is spellbinding alien chess. From what I understand, it's already losing for him. I forget how it's supposed to be. I think he has to play knight c6. He has to do something here. There's something he has to do, and he didn't. From what I remember, knight d7 just loses on the spot. Like the classic point is that knight f6, we play bishop c6, takes, knight takes, and we're just going to checkmate him on the e file. He's completely stuck. All right, bishop c6. Should be the end of the game here. Takes, knight takes, and his queen is practically trapped here. If rook b8, we still take and drill the knight into c6, and the same exact situation occurs. We're driving his queen away from this essential diagonal, and once his queen gets driven away, we can play queen e2 without having to worry about anything else. Yeah, it would be great to break 2000. It would be glorious to break 2000. It would really be time to go. Yeah, the moral of, what I understand, the moral of 1984 is really chilling, actually. To give you guys the TLDR version of it, it's that we're all just more or less selfish animals. We're all selfish animals that think we have principles, but deep down, when push comes to shove, we don't. All right, queen c8. I think we could just play queen e2 here. Yeah, queen e2. Very uncomfortable position here. Can he try bishop e7 to survive? Does bishop e7 hold on? No, then we take on d5. Look at this. Look at this. Guys, I really want you to like just appreciate how destructive the bird is. Because look at this. Like, our opponent has not had a ghost of a chance. Well, here we just take him, we're winning the queen. All right. I guess he's trying to survive here. Let's start with a check. He desperately needs to coordinate his pieces, so the check forces his king back in the way of the pieces. Yeah, I think he got the best deal possible in this position. He got 2 pieces for the queen, which maybe objectively speaking, I even let him off the hook a little. But he is still completely lost here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is going to lose. If you're down a queen and a pawn to 2 pieces, and your pieces are discoordinated after having put your king in the back rank and not being able to castle, you're going to lose. No question. No question, you're going to lose. And it's time to go.
FTV Claude, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked.
It's time to go!
All right, he's going there. We'll just castle. He could try to throw in a check. I'd be happy to open up the board more and just play d4. I'm happy to throw pawns into the woodworks just to get the initiative going. Just to get the flaming initiative burning. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Very interesting variation. Like, this is one of those variations here after knight e5. I'm not even sure how many times this has ever been reached on Lee Chess. I know recently I've been playing it a lot, and I was also looking at my boy, the Ginger GM's videos on YouTube, and he's also gotten this position a few times, and he has remembered to play knight e5. So perhaps it's in the database a few times now, but prior to my course coming out, I don't think anyone even knew of the move. I think it had only been played maybe like 5 or 6 times. I'll definitely leave it down below or in some caption there when I'm editing the video and when I can actually like look this up. But I would definitely bet it's been played less than 100 times ever. It's a really shocking position. It's something that people could easily just lose to. All right, so where should we put the queen? We should keep it out of the way of this. We should also keep it out of the way of this. Of course, keep it out of the way of this. Let's choose h3. I mean, one of the fundamental things here, and this isn't dealt with in my bird course, but this is dealt with a lot in my other course, is that when you have a queen versus several minor pieces, just look to destabilize the minor pieces. What do we mean by destabilize? We mean just push them off of squares where they're defended by pawns, mostly. So my next priority here is just to push this pawn up the board and push this knight away. At the moment, the knight looks very stable, but if it's pushed away from this square, it will have a litany of really terrible options to choose from. Knight e4 is interesting. I guess he's going for bishop c5 stuff. He wants me to push d5. We'll play bishop e3 first, we'll play rook e1 next, and then finally d5. The knight is not stable on this e4 square. All right, we'll play rook e1. Bruv is in a lot of trouble. I feel like he probably should have instead played to secure this knight on an outpost. The converse to what I just stated about playing with the queen against minor pieces is that if you are the person with the minor pieces against the queen, you need to be stabilizing your minor pieces on outposts. No question. Let's play d5 here. Let's lock the bishop out. He can take a pawn. I'm not too concerned about that. We'll play f5. The knight is going to get destabilized. I'm also playing for f6. The knight is going to start to come across a lot of problems here, as we see as time moves on. Bishop, okay, so bishop f6, gotta be a little careful. Bishop f4 runs into bishop d4. How should we do this? Let's play, how should we do this? What are we gonna play here? We play rook f4. Rook f4 runs into bishop g5. I just need to figure out a way to deal with this knight. If I can push this knight back, the game is just over. Let's start with queen f3. I want to play bishop f4, but I'm going to be running into bishop d4 check, so I guess I have to play queen f3, king h1, and then finally bishop f4. And then bishop d4 won't come with a critical tempo. So he plays knight d6, but that signifies... I would assume that signifies just capitulation. He is not going to be able to stabilize these pieces now. And we have a really simple plan. It doesn't matter if he takes the pawn. Don't worry about that. What matters is, are his pieces getting destabilized? And most importantly, we're trading off this rook. I guess not most importantly. It's more or less the same type of degree. But we're trading off his rook, and he is not going to be able to defend himself with this disconnected rook. For starters, we can just play queen e4 and pick up the knight. Queen e2 would have also worked. Not orange nor magenta loses. 1991. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this streak going. Playing EMP grenade. E4. Let's go with the Alekhine. Haven't played the Alekhine in a while. E5, knight f6. I mean, I'm getting to the rating where I probably shouldn't be playing an opening I don't know anything about. That's like a classic word of wisdom. A GM nugget of wisdom, if you would. Do not play openings you don't know. Do not play openings you do. It sounds so obvious, and yet I would bet like 95% of the chess playing population would benefit from it, myself included. Do not play openings you don't know. All right, so yeah, the theory here goes takes, 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 and then takes, and queen takes, and it goes to an endgame. Takes, we're gonna take, they take here, they take there. Interesting, let's take this way. I got my classic Tetris structure. I love my Tetris structure. This is the structure that I used to only dream of. It's the classic, fantastic version of the Caro-Kann. This is a weird one though, because their pawns are doubled here. This is not a normal game against the Caro-Kann for them either. So what should we be doing here? Our knight normally should be aiming for this e6 square. Let's start with the check. I'm going to be moving my knight around either to g6 or e6. Yeah, this just looks like a fantastic version of the aforementioned variation. Rook b1. All right. Yeah, what are we going to do here? Knight g6. I've gotten very close to trapping people's queens here with knight g6, knight h4. The only problem is that they have the h5 square still. Aside from the h5 square, the queen would be trapped in that type of position. I'm wondering, should the knight go to e6 or g6? Both are very interesting options. If e6, I could put my knight on g5. Would he ever want to trade there? I don't know. I really don't know. Man, this is a complete toss-up here. I guess knight e6 is better. It's a toss-up though. Like my main issue here is what happens if knight g3, knight g5, and he just trades and then puts his knight on e4. The whole rationale for playing a move like knight g5 is that I'm getting rid of his bishop pair and his knight won't be able to be useful. But if his knight is able to come to e4, then of course that dynamic shifts. Yeah, I guess I'm going to be playing for g6 and f5 and then knight g5. Like if he plays knight g3 here, g6, knight e4, I'll just burrow back to e7. But then he plays d5. Then I play knight g7. What a weird position. What a strange, eccentric position. I forget where I was or what I was doing, but recently I was joking around with my friends that I'm an eccentric billionaire. Yeah, I don't remember the situation at all, but just somehow or another the topic came up, and the joke was that I'm an eccentric billionaire. And yeah, I just ran with it. Yeah, what is the move here though? So c4 is interesting. I don't really see what that does. I guess the whole idea is to play c5 and push our bishop away. So let's just play c6 to keep the bishop on this diagonal. c5 wouldn't achieve anything. We could just play bishop c7. d5 on the other hand, play knight c5. Takes also knight c5 is possible, but like the classic move here would be c5, but of course we can't do that because the knight is hanging. So knight c5 takes, queen takes, knight takes d3. Oh, this is a wacky position. This is hella sus. Knight g5 is super strange. Takes. What is happening here? I could take here, but I don't want to give him these two pawns connected. I don't want to fix his pawn structure for him. I guess I have to, though. I guess I gotta. We'll play knight c5, and at least I'm getting the bishop pair. If I can get the bishop pair, I shouldn't be worse. He also might have some problems with this pawn here. Like if he plays knight d4, I could play bishop e5. My queen's attacking this. Bishop e5 is interesting, but we could play rook e4. Can't we play rook e4? Bishop g4 is coming. Very strange position. A bunch of slightly unstable pieces, but at the same time, you know, if I'm able to play bishop g4, I'm going to have maximum activity. Bishop g4 threatens to just win a piece, actually. Look at that. If bishop e3, I play bishop g4 and the queen is trapped. It's a wacky position. Yeah, compared to earlier on in the speedrun, I'm having to invest so much energy now in these games. People are playing really well in this 1900-2000 range. It's legitimately time to go. We got to get moving. We got to get going. All right, knight g3. We could definitely play bishop g4 if we want. Is bishop g4 the best approach, though? Bishop g4, where does his queen go? His queen can go to c3. I don't think c3 is a particularly good square, though, for the queen. But how would I respond then? I would play rook e7. Is the inclusion of bishop g4 and queen c3 better? Yeah, definitely, because look, if I play rook e7 immediately, he plays knight f5, and he forces the bishops off the board. Let's just play bishop g4 then. Force the queen around. Now bring the rook back to e7, a classic case of comparison there. His queen is also really misplaced. Sooner or later, he needs to connect these pawns. They just form two weaknesses at the moment. Yeah, there are actually lots of problems with his position now that I think about it. Like these pawns are disconnected. Also, even if they get connected, then they would lock his bishop on the wrong side of everything and a6 could trap it. So yeah, to fully fix his position, he needs to do several things. He needs to get this bishop out of the way, get this queen out of the way, and finally push the pawn up. I don't think he's going to have time to do all those things, to be clear. Yeah, it seems like he wants to trade, but if he trades, he gives me complete control of the dark squares. I wouldn't have any concern in that type of position. I would have no worries, no cry, as the great Bob Marley once said. Queen d4. Queen d4 is good. Queen d4 is attacking the bishop. We should play, well, h5, h3. Yikes. Yikes. What is happening here? h5, h3, bishop d7. He trades, no, then he takes the pawn. Queen d4 is a fantastic move, honestly. I might have to call my boy Big Vlad on Mr. EMP Grenade for that one. All right, we could play bishop d7. Does he have anything to do yet? I didn't want to trade the bishops, though. This bishop is sort of a stuck piece. h5, h3. Can I play h4 there? that's a wild position. Look at that. If queen takes, I take. Takes with a pawn. Yeah, what is going on here? Can someone let me know what is happening in this position? h5, h3. Another idea I have there is bishop e5. Bishop e5 and his queen is left lacking really good options, but I just don't know what what is this position? What is going on in this position? Like h5, h3, h4. He takes, I take. Well, no, that should be good. I'm fine with that position. The position I have issue with is when I don't ruin his structure that much. He takes with the queen, then takes, takes. I'm not really sure I have anything there. I do not want to trade this bishop, though. Could I play a6? Well, no, a6 then takes, takes, and he plays knight f5, and I'm completely bamboozled there. All right, the phone is ringing. It's time to go. Do we play bishop d7? All right, I guess I have to play bishop d7. It's not a move I wanted to make, but I guess it's a move I have to make. The dude bamboozled me. What can I say? Gotta be very careful not to allow the knight into f5. If the knight gets into f5, it's going to crash through on d6, and this entire blockade is compromised from c5 and d6. Gotta be very careful. What's the plan going to be? He plays c4. C4 is a wild position, honestly. Like c4, what do I do there? I really want to get this bishop to move, but there's no obvious recourse. c4. All right, can we play bishop e5? Not really. Let me just play b6. Let's keep everything protected here. I'm having a lot of weak light squares, but it doesn't seem like that's a problem yet. It's nowhere. The knight is nowhere close to getting into those squares. If we look at it, if we really observe. From my understanding of blockades, if he ever takes here, we should be at least equal, because the idea is that c4 is going to be very weak. c4 is going to be very weak, and even though technically he has a passed pawn here, a protected passed pawn on d5, it doesn't really equate to anything because my bishop is an extremely good blockader of it. If he were to trade off my bishop, that dynamic could easily change, though. Queen h4. Bruv is really playing for it. Let's take. I gotta take, put my queen on d7. He should probably take with the rook, but now another problem arises, which is that his rook is just very misplaced here. It's pointing to literal concrete here, and I mentioned this in my course. If the rook does not have any access to 3 diagonals, really, then it's generally a really badly placed piece. And you don't need to worry about it. No worry, no cry, as the great Bob Marley said. If he plays knight h5, we have rook e4, and I think the queen is trapped. Very interesting position. I had to make sure that the knight stays off of f5. Yeah, if we can, I would love to play g6 and f5 to really dominate this knight, but the problem is that whenever I play g6, it's just like f6 is always hanging. And I do need to be careful as well about the bishop coming in. Okay, so I think he blundered it. Oh wait, rook e4, does he have queen takes f6? That's wild, look at that. Takes, knight takes here, and then he's gonna take, and he's winning material. Blimey, he's winning material. All right, I think we could just play king f8 though. King f8, does he have anything? If he takes, I take back. Queen takes f6, I could play bishop e5. Yeah, there are no issues that, well, king f8 takes, what if he takes on h7? Then I play rook e2 and my king gets out this way, and again, he has nothing. All right, we're going for it. It's time to go. I want to play rook e4 next. I just had to dodge that sneaky trick. He really wanted to get a knight there. He plays knight g3 now. I could either go back or I could just play h6, and I don't see what he has in that position. Really interesting stuff. Of course, he has many ways to completely shatter my structure, but the logic is that none of his other pieces are coordinated to combine with the queen for an attack. All right, he's going there, but now I play rook e2. This was my intention. Check is not going to do that much. We have king e7. Yeah, I think I'm doing well here. If bishop b2, we could play bishop e5, and we shield everything that's worth shielding. Bishop b2 and other ideas, I just play king e7. Queen h6, then I play queen f5. Yeah, if we look at, actually, everything is stable here, right? The c and d files are always going to be closed because these pawns are blockaded here. Meanwhile, my rook completely covers adequately the e file, so my king is very safe in this position. He would need easily like 1 or 2 more pieces to really cause my king problems in this position. Like, for instance, if he had a knight that could come to f5, that would be a huge issue. Yeah, this looks completely fine for me. Bishop b2. All right, yeah, I want to play king e7 here. Oh wait, bishop b2, can we just take? No, we can't take just yet. Let's play king e7. Well, king e7, so the thing is there, my rook is hanging, right? So can he take, and then play queen h4? No, then I play king g6, he has no checks. Queen h6, meanwhile, I can play king e7, queen g5. I play king f8, queen h6. Well, that looks like perpetual. That is almost perpetual, but I don't think... No, I think I'll be okay there. I can run back and then block with f6. I should be winning there. Let's play king e7. It's time to go. Yeah, no longer queen h8. Queen h8 is no longer a problem here. In fact, I could play for the attack with queen g4 and rook g8 when all of a sudden my pieces are convening on his king. f4, no, f4 has to be a really drastic mistake. Let's play queen g4 here. Has to be the end of the game now. Also, my king can run if it ever needs to now. Yeah, really cool variation, bishop f6, king f6, queen h6. I think I can even play king f5, and he's going to be running out of checks there. Let's play knight e4. Yeah, the attack just continues unabated. Knight g3 threatens to win the game. Also, bishop c5 is going to cause huge issues. Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Look at that, bishop c5, king h1, and rook e1. Rook takes. All right, let's start with a check. No, there's no way he's surviving this. Come on. Come on. It's time to go. We could definitely play knight f2 and be completely winning. I'm wondering if there's anything better though. Knight f2 takes. We just take with the rook and that would be the end of the game. But I mean, knight f2 takes, check, king. No, that doesn't work just yet. Knight f2 takes. Bishop takes actually looks best because then my rook keeps an eye on the e file. If he takes on f6, I don't think there's anything for him there. Takes on f6, I take. He plays check, I play queen g6. Yeah, he's running out of checks there. Nothing to worry about in that position. Knight f2 works. Is there anything better though? It's always a good question to ask yourself. Is there anything better in this position? Rook takes h2 already almost works. Wait, does rook takes h2 work? No, sorry, he takes with the queen. He takes with the queen. I thought I had knight g3 there, but his rook is still defending. All right, let's just play knight f2. Just be happy with what we got. Looks like the end of the game here. Takes, rook takes, or sorry, takes, bishop takes. My rook stays defending everything. It's his king that is in trouble. It's his king that's in the dragon's den. 1991. We're really making waves here. He's going there. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is about to be a masterclass in attacking technique. And by that I mean I thought I saw a tactic and I don't think it works now. I want to play knight d3. I want to play knight d3, king h1, and then the rook is blocked, but I don't see a follow-up. Knight d3, king h1, everything almost works there, but it doesn't. It doesn't completely. So a really cool idea. I was looking at this. Look at this. Queen h3, takes, king takes. We play f5 and rook h8 is almost mate, but the bishop is guarding that. That can't really work. Of course, okay, I can check and then take, but I'm wondering, do we have a mate? Let me spend another like 45 seconds looking for the mate. I really want to find the mate. The chess is about finding checkmates. Chess is not about finding liquidations. Famous last words before normally someone loses, though. Knight h3, no, knight h3, knight takes f4 doesn't work. Rook h8 is always an idea, but no, okay, I'm just going to cash out. I'm going to cash out and take the bishop. Taking another piece. He doesn't have any tricks, especially now he doesn't even have a way to attack this or sacrifice here. EMP grenade is run out of tricks. It's already been 43 minutes. These games are lasting so much longer now. Yeah, if his queen moves somewhere like here, I can take and then play queen e2 check, because with the bishop combined, that should lead to some type of checkmate. All right. What's the plan here? Okay, we play king d7, no tricks. Rook e1. Here we could take, check, king g2, queen h3, king f3. Is that mate? Yeah, we have queen h5 there, which should work. I think that works. Let's go for it. I mean, I have enough material to just sacrifice this. Throw on the check. Check, king f3. I think even rook g8 is simpler. Look at that, and he has no checks. Literally, all of these checks are guarded. Just rook g8 here. End of the game. And most importantly, he can't play rook g1. My bishop is scoping that. I'm just going to take on g3 next with the win. His last chance is to play king e2, but then I'm going to take with the rook. And I have too many options here. There's no way he's surviving this one. King d1. Okay, king d2. Well, we could just throw in a check. Let me throw in a, oh, sorry, he plays rook e2. That was silly of me. Well, no, rook e2, sorry, queen c3. All right, we could play rook d2 here, queen a3, and this is going to be mate. Nice. That was a close game. Got down to 13 seconds there. Look at that. All right, so I guess we'll end here. 1998, end of day number 50.